you start a wedding photography business in the state of California? We are going to get real specific today with the exact steps and how to do those steps that no other resource is going to get this specific about. Hi, I'm Jenny Silver. I'm the founder of the California Entrepreneur Collective, contributor to Entrepreneur Media, and most importantly for this video, I am an internationally published award-winning wedding photographer who has been in business for well over a decade. First, we're going to be starting about the most basic elements of starting your business, which is going to be registering your business legally in the state of California. The state of California provides a business registration guide specific for photographers. Now, this guide is super useful and I'm going to link it in the description down below. Now, before you can register your business, you need to have a few things hammered out first. Number one, you will need to decide what type of business entity you will be. When you start a business, you need to determine an entity type, essentially how your business is going to function in terms of the law and taxes in the eyes of the IRS and government agencies. There are two common business types that most wedding photographers are going to select. Number one is a sole proprietor and number two is an LLC. A sole proprietor means that you and your business are one and the same. There is no legal separation and there is no taxation separation between yourself and the business. A sole proprietorship is what you are automatically defaulted to when you have not filed any additional registrations. This is the simplest, and a lot of new photographers start off as sole proprietors. A sole proprietor is not considered forming a separate business entity, but rather the business and the business owner are one and the same. Forming a sole proprietorship is going to be the fastest and simplest way to get started. Another common and perhaps better choice when you're ready to do so is to form what is called an LLC, a limited liability company. LLCs separate the business entity and the personal entity. That means that your business assets, liabilities, etc., your personal assets and liabilities are separated. If you choose to separate and form an LLC, that means that any lawsuits that are filed against your LLC will not enter in and go against your personal assets. LLCs are automatically taxed as what is called a disregarded entity. While a separate business entity has been formed, the taxes and income and everything that comes along with that is going to pass through and go onto your personal tax return, just like it would with a sole proprietorship. This is then going to show up on your individual tax return in what is called a Schedule C, where you will declare all of your business income and deductions. Now, an LLC will be defaulted to being taxed this way, but they also have the option to choose to be taxed as what is called an S Corp. An LLC must file an additional registration in order to be taxed as an S Corp, but this will allow you to have some tax savings as long as you meet a few special requirements. This gets a little complicated, so if you want to know more information about that, click the link in the video description down below that talks more about tax savings for an LLC. Now, as you are deciding between whether or not you want to be a sole proprietor or an LLC, you need to take a few other things into account. An LLC is going to have an annual $800 California LLC tax every single year, as long as your income is below $250,000 in a year. You raise that threshold and you go above and beyond $250,000 a year, you will be taxed more. But regardless of your income, even if you make nothing, you still will have to pay that annual $800 LLC tax. Additionally, LLCs are going to be required to file a biannual, every other year, Statement of Information with the California Secretary of State. Many wedding photographers will start off as a sole proprietorship and then convert to an LLC later on down the line. It's up to you which one you want to choose. If you want to form an LLC and start right off the bat with having formed a separate business entity that will protect your personal assets, then go that route. I'm going to go ahead and link a service in the video description that will allow you to form your LLC fast, easy, and for a $0 charge using the link down below. Now that you've decided what type of business entity you're going to be, before you can actually complete the registrations needed, you are going to need to decide one more. That's a two. Now that you've decided what type of business entity you're going to be, next you're going to need to decide what your business physical address and your business mailing address are going to be. Now, it is completely fine to use your personal home address as your business address, but you need to understand that all information that you submit, including your home address, is going to be on public record, easily searchable, and can be redistributed by third-party companies compiling vendor listings, business listings, and by Google Satellite to share photos of your home along with where your business is registered. So take that into consideration. If you that are not fine with that and you do not have a separate office or a studio space, then you will want to get what is known as a virtual office. A virtual office can be obtained from a third-party company such as iPostal, I'm gonna link it down below, where they will assign you an actual physical address in a unit or a suite number within their building so that you can then register your business to that address. You can then utilize this as your business physical address as well as your business mailing address. Now, once you have decided what your business address is going to be, next you are going to be obtaining a DBA, a doing business as statement, which is also known as a fictitious business name statement in many counties in California. You are going to need to register a DBA unless you are operating using only your first and last legal name. In the case of most photography businesses, you will need to register your DBA. For example, if you are operating as Ginny Silver Photography, you will need to register a DBA because you have added on photography. Photography is not your last name, so you must therefore register your DBA as Ginny Silver Photography. You're going to want to do this as the first step in the process because all of your other paperwork will require you to list your DBA. Now, this is easy to do and it's going to require 3 fairly simple steps. Number 1 is going to be to complete and submit the application. Number 2 is going to be to pay a small fee, which varies from county to county. Number 3 is going to be, in most counties, you will be required to follow the recorder's instructions to publish your DBA in a local newspaper. To complete step number 1, you are going to go to the website calgold.ca.gov. Next, select your city and your county and then enter in your business type. This is going to give you a full list of all of the possible things that you need to do in order to start your business. Scroll down until you see fictitious business name or DBA statement, and then click the link that's provided. Now, this is going to take you directly to your own unique city or county application for filing your fictitious business name statement. Here's the same application, but for a different county. So you can see it's a different form, but CalGold will link you to the correct form for your county. Now, what you need to know here is that you will need to select the type of business entity that you are, or it's going to ask you for business conducted by. You will either select sole proprietor or individual since you're filling out this application as a sole proprietor. Now, once you have submitted the form and you have paid the fee to file your fictitious business name statement, you are required in most counties, but not all, within 30 days of filing to get your statement published in a newspaper which is in general circulation in the county stating that your fictitious business name was filed. Now, there are some specifics here, but what you need to know to keep this simple, now once you receive confirmation from the county clerk recorder's office, which is where you file this statement, they will typically send you out an additional paper letting you know this requirement and then letting you know the contact information for several newspapers that they recommend. All you need to do is call or email one of those publications, let them know that you need to have your fictitious business name statement published, and they will know exactly how to help you. Okay, you guys, so please be on the lookout for the next simple step in the process as we break this confusing process down into simple, actionable steps. Next, consider if you want to obtain an EIN. An EIN is an employer identification number. An EIN is an employer identification number. However, you do not need to have employees in order to hold one. An EIN is a tax number that is associated with your business. If you're a sole proprietor and you are using your personal social security number to operate your business, then an EIN can be obtained and used instead of your social security number. LLCs are already required to have an EIN. EINs are obtained fast, easy, and free from irs.gov. Do not pay a service to get an EIN. It takes only about 5 minutes. I'm going to leave the link on where to apply for this down below, and you're going to click the blue button to apply. Next, you're going to be prompted to enter in what type of legal business structure is applying for an EIN. You will select sole proprietor unless, of course, you're a different type of business entity. Next, it's going to ask you to confirm that you are a sole proprietor or to select that you are a household employer because you hired someone to do household work. So they want you to differentiate between the two. Next, enter in the requested information, and they will ask you for your social security number here, but that is the last time that you're going to need to use it because you will therefore be able to utilize your EIN number going forward. The next step once you have registered your DBA is going to be to obtain your seller's permit. If you are selling tangible products within your photography business, such as prints, you drive of any kind, albums, etc., then you're going to be required to hold a California seller's permit. In the state of California, all tangible products are going to be subject to California sales tax. The California Department of Tax and Fee Administration is the department of the state that handles sales and use tax. The CDTFA's publication on photography very clearly states that any of the actual labor that goes into creating that tangible product, such as the photo shoot that then later resulted in the album being created, is all subject to sales tax as long as a final product was delivered. So for those of you that are creating digital files only and later collecting those product or album sales, all of that labor also needs to be taxed. So the puzzle here is going to be to obtain a business license. In the state of California, this is also known as a business tax certificate. You want to make sure that you obtain your DBA and your seller's permit first because both of those things are going to be included on your business license application. First, you're going to visit calgold.ca.gov. I'm going to link the website down below. Enter in your city name as well as your business type and click search. From here, you're going to locate the section that refers to a business license and click the link to the website. This is going to take you to your city's specific area where you can apply for a business license. Each city is going to do things a little bit differently, but in general, business licenses are renewed once a year on a calendar year basis. Business license start date is going to be the first date that your business started in that particular city. Sole proprietor, you will be asked on here to provide either an EIN number or a social security number. If you do not have an EIN number, then providing your social security number as a sole proprietor is fine. I'm going to show you the city of Santa Clara's application. This one is one that was easily accessible for me to show you. And in general, they're going to be asking for the same pieces of information, although the exact fee and layout might look a little bit different from city to city. They're going to first ask you for your business name as well as a DBA if you are operating under a different doing business as name. They're going to ask for your business address and your mailing address. Now, if you are operating out of your home and you have a home-based business, then this would in fact be your home address, unless you have registered for a virtual office. If you have registered for a virtual office and you are specifically paying for virtual office services, then you will utilize that address. However, a PO box is not a business address. So for those of you wondering if you can use a PO box here for business address, the answer is no. You can, however, utilize that PO box for your mailing address. Next, you're going to be asked, do you claim an exemption to pay business taxes? Now, the only businesses that are going to be exempt from paying taxes are going to be those who are eligible for a 501c3 status, meaning that you operate for religious, educational, scientific, or other charitable purposes. They do not give net income to any private individual, such as the owner or the founder. So in most cases, this does not apply to you, and you would check no. Next, you would check that you are a sole proprietor, and because you're a sole proprietor, you may or may not have a Next, you're going to check that you're a sole proprietor, and then where it asks for your federal tax ID, your FEIN, you will either include your federal EIN number if you have one, or if you do not, then you may include your personal social security number. Next, enter in information about the business owner, which is you, and you're going to enter in your seller's permit number. If you have a contractor's license in the class, you're going to enter that in, and then enter in the information about your business's location. The fee for obtaining a business license or business tax certificate is going to vary from city to city, but you can see an example of Santa Clara's fees here just to give you an idea of what you can expect to pay. Along with that business license, you may also be required to have an annual fire inspection at your place of business. Now, this differs with every city and county, but many cities will require that you have an annual fire inspection done at your place of business. If you are someone that has a photography studio that has a separate office, then anticipate that once a year you might need to have a fire inspector come out. They may do a quick walkthrough because they need to clear that you are all set in terms of fire safety. Next, you may need to obtain what is called zoning clearance. Zoning clearance is going to apply to some cities, but not others, depending on their registration requirements and where you are operating your business. Zoning clearance essentially is the city planner's department saying that yes, you can operate a business out of your business location. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to visit CalGold at calgold.ca.gov. Type in your city or your county and then select your business type. From there, you're going to scroll down until you see the land use permit zoning clearance section. This is going to tell you the phone number of the department that you need to contact in order to obtain that zoning clearance. Click through to the website or call into the office. Specific restrictions, fees, etc. are going to vary from city to city or from county to county. But just to give you an example, I'm going to pull up the city of Sacramento's information here. Their application fee is $156. They have some specific requirements in terms of how many employees, how often employees can be working there, how many customers can be there on site, etc. They also will state exactly what types of businesses are or aren't permitted, as well as some other regulations to make sure that they are preserving the residential neighborhood as opposed to turning the street address into a busy storefront. The community development department in your city is either going to have this application listed on their website, or when you call into their office, you can obtain it there. Once again, each city is going to have its own unique application, but just to give you an idea of what to expect, here's a brief example of some of the questions you're going to see. Now, once you have started your business, you are ready to go. The next step beyond this video is going to be creating a solid marketing plan for your business. This does not have to be something that is incredibly expensive. I have loads of low-cost methods that help me to build $1 million photography business in